My name is Rebecka Henriksson. I didn't put my name on the slide, and I didn't put any other co-authors of this study either, but we are all involved in the RESPON project in one or another way. I'm going to present to you the social-ecological systems integration assessment wheel. It's a handful. A mouthful. Improving social-ecological systems integration in RESPON and beyond. So in RESPON, across the different studies, we cover a range of water-related sustainability challenges, like the ones we've already mentioned in previous presentations. So whether it's a catchment or a landscape or a city, we can define it as a social ecological system. And we kind of know what a social ecological system is, but I'm going to tell you anyway. We've got the social components, such as culture and history, politics, institutions, and the power dynamics. We've got the ecological components, so that includes the soil, the water, the plants, climate, ecosystems. And these are all linked through the societal use of the ecosystems. The activities we have, such as agriculture, or urbanization, or pollution, or restoration. And this graphic is very simplified, of course. We should rather envision a much more complex, multidimensional machinery with connections across space and time. And even a 4D model, whatever that is, would not be enough to depict the complexity of a social ecological system and the interactions between the individual parts, the feedbacks going to and from, between the system's components and also from outside systems, or to and from outside systems. So there are many of us in this room and outside of this room who are using the SES approach, addressing complex sustainability challenges, who want to design or conduct our research in a way that consider the many components, and most importantly, the connections between components. But how do we do this? How do we integrate the many aspects of the social ecological systems to take advantage of the non-linear, unpredictable processes that change our system towards a more desirable and equitable outcome? So RESPON has given it a shot. I wish I had those Harry's pancakes in here as well. So the conceptual framing of RESPON is of the adaptive systemic approach. It does take into consideration many principles and characteristics of a complex adaptive system, social ecological systems principles. So this is the design that we were planning to take place in the many African countries we're working with, in the different nodes, in the research teams, and the postgraduate studies that we were planning. But in reality, we've experienced that it's really been a challenge to do this. And for a variety of reasons, of course. COVID came and hit us, as you know. But that was not the only reason that this was difficult, because it turned out, we had a little bit of assumptions, I think, that it turned out that it was not obvious at all for everyone what a research into social ecological systems entail, and how to integrate the natural sciences and the social sciences. We didn't know how to use a diverse set of methods and variables and data sources, and how to engage with stakeholders in a meaningful way, and how to bring the knowledge from other actors than those of academia. So now we wanted to check actually how well we were doing in the social ecological systems integration. So we wanted to assure that our integration was going to be as good as possible under these circumstances. So we needed to create a tool to assess how we did. So we developed this SES integration assessment tool. So we use the growing body of literature, as you all are quite familiar with, on how to integrate the various aspects of SES research. And these publications, they include reviews, principles, theories, frameworks, and methods, and that can guide us into more integrative SES research. So from this literature, we drew out the 5 main dimensions of SES integration. So these are the conceptual, methodological, disciplinary, and the integration of knowledge forms, functional, and knowledge sharing. So each of these we had categories and subcategories, and each of them correspond to an assessment criteria or a question that we asked when we reviewed the studies, the documents of the studies that have been going on in RESPEN. So, for example, what systems components are considered? Is our query uni or bidirectional? Do we have an ecocentric, an anthropocentric, or a relational value orientation? What variables are considered? There's a publication that is listing variables. Are they social, ecological, or social ecological? So we have a lot of guidance from these different publications. We have a whole handbook out that you know of on SES methods. So there we can learn a lot about the theories we can use, qualitative or quantitative data, what data types and sources are we using, what tools, framework, methods and frameworks or models can we use to answer the queries from the social ecological systems. But we don't have to be, of course, using only those methods. We can combine any type of methods from the social science or natural science. The way we combine them or integrate them is the big issue here. So that's the part that our scholars are not trained in the social ecological systems research space. They are trained very disciplinary. So then the matter is to integrate different parts. Of course, what disciplines are represented and integrated, what kind of knowledge forms are integrated. Do we include non-academic knowledge? Are we considering the science policy practice interface? Which stakeholder groups are involved? And most importantly, which process of the study design are they involved with? Are they involved with forming, are they forming part of designing the study or formulating the problem statement, or are they simply a source of information for us? So those are the things we need to consider. Does the study investigate power and equity issues? Also in terms of recommendations, are they clear and actionable? And how do we produce knowledge products, academic and non-academic products? So then we chose to illustrate this, the extent of integration across the categories in something that we call the SES Integration Assessment Wheel. And for each study within RESPEN, we reviewed all the studies. We plotted the extent of integration for each subdimension. So does it have a weak or intermediate or strong integration? And I know that I'm going to get a lot of questions, or there are going to be a lot of questions in the room. How did we choose these different subcategories and the criteria, and how did we define the different levels of strength of integration? But I will invite you all to another workshop, and we can go through them, and we can critique every little step of this, because I really want to develop this tool to be a very useful tool for others than just RESPEN. But for now, this is a temporary analysis, and it can be seen as a pilot. So first, in order to get an idea of what what the intention was of the work in the different African nodes. We have reviewed the RESPON proposal, the project plan, and this plan involved quite a strong integration across methods, concept disciplines, knowledge forms, stakeholder engagement, and knowledge sharing. You can see the dark blue as strong integration. Don't ask me about the criteria for scoring this right now. Intermediate integration or weak. You can choose any scale that you feel is important for yours if you want to use this tool. So the assessment was applied. I'm showing you the 4 other studies within RESPON. So we have 2 journal paper drafts and 1 published journal paper and an interim project report. And you can see that the extent of integration across the different categories vary quite a lot, which is of course expected. We have quite disciplinary researchers in our team. So at this point, we're not really going to look in so closely to how well we did at the different categories and different studies and different nodes, but rather zoom in to see some examples of how this assessment can be used to improve the integration. So this paper from Tanzania, it is not Timotheus, it's his natural science postgraduate peer, so this is a paper draft, and you can see some of the fields are white. It means that there's either no information in the paper or it's not applicable yet. For example, the academic knowledge product or non-academic knowledge products because it's underway. But for example, the theory, it's not mentioned in the paper, and that's something that we can then correct or improve by situating the study in the complex system, social ecological systems framing. So to make that theory explicit. Another study, this is a postgrad study as well from Ethiopia. This has been published already, so we can't do much about this very publication, but it has the potential to be built on by the Ethiopian node, by the colleagues, by again situating the study in the CSES theory, and then integrating additional data sources or types of data, engaging with stakeholders and assuring that there's a wide range of knowledge sharing across so academic and non-academic opportunities. Yeah, so there was something else I wanted to say. Never mind. So as I said, this is a tool that is still being developed, and what we're using it for now is, well, we're screening our studies, our projects to identify areas of improvement, but we also can use it as a checklist when we're designing a study, for example, if we want to assure these various parts of SES integration. It can be used as a set of criteria if you want to fund proposals or research postgrad studies that cover many aspects of SES research. But we also want to make it accessible to use outside of the SES research community. We want to demystify the SES space, that we can actually make this tool available for more disciplinary research groups that want to create more impact and work towards more sustainable outcomes. And it can be modified, of course, to match whatever objectives or priorities you have. If you have a strong focus on social learning, transformation and impact, then you can enhance those criteria or sub-criteria. I think I'm done. Thanks again.